Nupur Sharma is still at the receiving end of rape and death threats, but also now likely targeted attacks are being planned against her. I have that story this time at 6 p.m. prime. Good evening and welcome. I'm Pooja Shali. Let's begin first with the headlines. The Supreme Court has given a temporary relief to now suspended spokesperson of the BJP, Nupur Sharma, for her remarks on the Prophet. Granted interim protection from arrest till 10th of August in 9 FIRs lodged against her. A 23-year-old man has been stabbed in Bihar for allegedly watching a video of Nupur Sharma. Cops deny the Nupur link, though claim it's a personal enmity. A shocker coming in from Haryana. DSP Surinder Singh mowed down by a goon of the mining mafia in No. State government promising strict action against the mining mafia. It is an ugly caste war over Agnipath scheme, opposition claiming it is a bid to create JatiVeers. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh counters misinformation, says no change in the recruitment process. Kalakurchi Superintendent of Police and Collector have been transferred after Tamil Nadu's student suicide case. Action has been taken after Stalin's review meeting. Victim's second autopsy of the mortal remains now underway. A case has been registered after the NEET aspirant in Kollam claims she was asked to remove inner wear at the examination centre. The National Testing Agency denies the charges, says complaint with wrong intention. Our top story of 6 p.m. prime is shocking and significant. Bihar police has made a new disclosure revealing that Nupur Sharma was possibly the new target of radical Islamist outfit Popular Front of India, commonly called the PFI. The National Investigation Agency, the NIA, has found a Delhi address, a personal address of BJP's now suspended spokesperson in the mobile phone of Athar Parvez, who has been under arrest in the Patna terror module case. So he was arrested into a different case. These details then emerged during questioning. Top officer of the Patna police has confirmed to India Today television that Nupur's residence address was found in the mobile phone of PFI-linked terror suspect Athar Parvez. So the question is, why was Nupur Sharma's address and personal details found in the mobile phone of this man who's under arrest? Meanwhile, the chorus is growing to ban this radical group, the PFI. The Bharatiya Janata Party is claiming that the PFI has been involved in many terror activities and that it needs to be banned. Now remember, giving you a background about this case, the Patna terror module was busted by the Bihar police on 14th of July for allegedly planning to target Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who was going to make a visit on the 12th of July. The cops had raided the Phulwari Sharif office and taken into arrest 2 suspects and also seized documents. Remember, that were aiming at a possible Islamic rule in India by 2047. Listen in now to what the police have said over this case and the new revelations and the ensuing political reactions. Take a look.
केवल फुलवारी शरीफ ही नहीं, जितनी भी घटनाएं, चाहे कानपुर में बवाल किया गया हो, प्रयागराज में हो, चाहे सीए पर दंगा हो, दिल्ली के वो हो दंगे सांप्रदायिक, ये सब में पीएफआई का रोल रहा है। पीएफआई 2006 में बनी थी केरल में, जिसमें कर्नाटका डिग्निटी फोरम, नेशनल डेवलपमेंट फंड, तमिलनाडु का अतिवादी संगठन, इन लोगों ने मिलकर बनाया था और केवल इनका एजेंडा है भारत को इस्लामिक देश में परिवर्तित करना। और ये सिम्मी जो 25 अप्रैल 77 को बना था, उसका बड़ा रूप है।
सारी एजेंसियां मिलकर हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं। पुलिस कार्रवाई कर रही है, लेकिन जब तक हमको पुख्ता साक्ष्य नहीं मिल जाते हैं, तब तक हम लोग किसी की गिरफ्तारी नहीं करते। एफआईआर हुआ है, उस पर एफआईआर हुआ है, हम लोग लिंक्स एस्टैब्लिश कर रहे हैं और बहुत जल्दी हम लोग इसको प्रमाणित कर देंगे।
Pakistan trying to incite violence in the country. The Border Security Force has nabbed infiltrators. This is a massive Pakistan terror threat to Nupur Sharma. The BSF has nabbed infiltrators on a Nupur hunt. They have also recovered long knives and religious scriptures have been seized. Is the Pakistan killer squad en route Ajmer that has been nabbed? As you can see, this picture revealed of the infiltrator was planning to attack Nupur Sharma. We have big news coming in. and also importantly, listening to first the reactions that have come in on this.
इस व्यक्ति का नाम रिजवान अशरफ, सन ऑफ मोहम्मद अशरफ, उम्र 24 साल, निवासी कुठियाल शेखा, पाकिस्तान का है। इसके पोजेशन में एक बैग मिला है जिसमें कुछ कपड़े, कुछ धार्मिक किताबें, 2 चाकू, एक बड़ा एक छोटा, पानी की बोतल और कुछ खाने का सामान है। इसने प्रारंभिक पूछताछ में ये बताया है कि ये यहाँ पर जो नुपुर शर्मा ने आपत्तिजनक बयान दिया था उसके विरोध में, उसके खिलाफ कार्रवाई करने के लिए यहाँ पर ये आना चाहता था।
I'm now joined in this live telecast by the former Director General of Police, SP Ved. Sir, you made a very important comment because over these infiltrators en route Ajmer, you say, sir, that this appears to be clearly the deep state Pakistan trying to engineer and incite communal riots across India. What prompted you to make that comment, sir?
The arrest of ISI operative in Rajasthan by BSF and his interrogation revealing that he was tasked to execute Nupur Sharma. So they understand the deep fissures and heightened tensions between the two communities over remark of Nupur Sharma and that controversy. I'm not going into whether it's right or wrong, but this clearly indicates the deep state is basically trying to fish in the troubled water by some means execute Nupur Sharma so that the majority community reacts to this killing of Nupur Sharma, and it will lead to communal flare up all across the country.
That's a very important point that you're making, sir. Sir, because you, yes, sir, go ahead, please, sir, go ahead.
And this is also no coincidence that from Arthur Parvez, you recover the address, telephone number and details of the family of Nupur Sharma, the activist of PFI. PFI is also trying to achieve the same what deep state of Pakistan is trying to achieve. So it clearly indicates that there is a deep-rooted conspiracy, both national and international, to somehow harm Nupur Sharma so that India.
Sir, I do have a question here because you have been in charge of the Jammu and Kashmir police, specifically when terrorism was at its peak. Do you think what Pakistan did in the Kashmir Valley, they would want to continue with that pattern in the rest of the country, use some incident to flare up passions and create communal violence, or what Kashmir has become over the past few years?
I have no doubt about their intentions.
Yes.
Their intentions are very, very clear. They actually, even China is a partner in this with Pakistan deep state. The PLA of China and the deep state of Pakistan are hand in glove. They want to stop the march of India becoming a global power by engineering communal rights, by engineering internal turmoil, engineering communal rights in the country, so that the resources of the government, resources of the Indian state are only focused on this rather than development, because it has created a lot of trouble in the minds of both China as well as Pakistan.
Thank you so much, SP Ved, former Director General of Police of J&K, for giving some very important perspective here of how Pakistan is trying to create further trouble and incite passions and specifically here communal tensions as well. We have some big news coming in. Let's take a look at that. So these arrested PFI members, in one of whose mobile phone the address and personal details of Nupur Sharma was found, Athar Parvez, Mohammad Jalaluddin and Arman Malik had also participated in a PFI agitation organized in Patna on 9th of June. It was a protest that was organized against Nupur Sharma in the month of June. Remember when the threats, violence, protests and even murders were peaking over that comment. PFI had organized also a protest, and now we know that while after they have taken into arrest, they are being questioned. But with Athar Parvez, who's been a senior member of the PFI, General Secretary, in his mobile phone, Personal details, address of Nupur Sharma was also found. Are we looking at a bigger conspiracy of targeted attacks possibly against Nupur Sharma, who has also approached the court today? My colleague Rohit Singh is tracking every latest update on this big story. So Rohit now joins me live on this because Rohit, you're constantly sending us ground report over this. So what appeared to be initially a Patna terror module to possibly target Prime Minister Modi, have an Islamic India, is actually now making to have connect with Nupur Sharma as well. How? Take us through the details.
Well, absolutely, Pooja, because the kind of revelations that have come today are extremely shocking. Because earlier we knew that it was only Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Patna visit on July 12th which was the target of the PFI. But now the police has questioned Atahar Parvez. He was the first PFI member who was arrested after this Patna terror module was in fact busted, and he was taken on remand, and for almost 48 hours he was questioned, and during his questioning it has now come to light that from the mobile phone of Atahar, the police has found that it consists of a mobile number of Nupur Sharma and also her residential address in Delhi. So this has really come as a big revelation, and it only goes on to point that it was not only a Prime Minister who was the target on July 12, but it's also indicating that the PFI may also be hatching a conspiracy to do something big against Nupur Sharma, because remember, Nupur Sharma's controversial comment has created a lot of furor in the country, and almost on a regular basis we are seeing in some place or other something is happening. Like in Sitamarhi also today we have reported that how a 18-year-old youth was stabbed almost 6 times because he was a Nupur Sharma supporter, and some person from the different...
So Rohit, what you're telling us is interesting. The police is now trying to look out whether there was a bigger conspiracy, because this was an agitation organized against Nupur Sharma. Then the accused manages to have her details and personal address as well. Rohit Singh tracking all the latest there in Bihar. Rohit, thank you very much for now for giving us this live update. Remember, with regard to the PFI or the threats against Nupur Sharma is not just an isolated case of a phone number or an address in an accused mobile phone. There has been real violence, murders, threats against or around Nupur Sharma. Let's begin. Kanhaiya Lal in Udaipur, remember the shopkeeper tailor, was killed, beheaded by 2 men who appeared to be customers. That was not all. Also remember what happened after that. In Ajmer, Salman Chishti had given out a video offering a bounty, his house and rupees, if someone decides to attack Nupur Sharma. Let's go across. In fact, before that, in Maharashtra, in Amravati, Umesh Kole, a chemist who was killed by someone he had known for many years, because Umesh Kole appeared to have come forth in support of Nupur Sharma, exactly like Kanhaiya Lal in Udaipur. We remember the teenager boy Saad Ansari, who had criticized the death threats against Nupur Sharma, asked religious clerics and conservatives and questioned them. In turn, a mob assaulted him at his own house, and then Saad Ansari gets arrested, not the mob. So remember, there is real violence around her, and that perhaps also leads us to the question, the fear that Nupur Sharma must be facing right now. Now, just today, in fact, there's been another incident reported from Bihar. A young man was stabbed, allegedly as it appeared, with complaints coming in from his family that because he was watching Nupur Sharma's video on his mobile phone at a shop, that 2 men suddenly offended over it, got into a scuffle and stabbed him. 3 attackers attacked this 23-year-old Ankit Jha after they saw him, according to the complainant, watching Nupur Sharma's video on his phone at a shop. The accused youths who have now been nabbed by our names Mohammad Bilal and Mohammad Nehal were allegedly first blowing cigarette smoke on Ankit's face. That led to a confrontation. When he confronted them, he was then stabbed by a knife near the waist. Bleeding profusely and grievously injured Ankit Jha is in a critical condition right now, and he is undergoing treatment at the DMHC hospital in Darbhanga. Now, the police have arrested 2 accused while dropping Very interesting. While dropping the angle of Nupur Sharma from the FIR, even though the family maintains that happened. Police are saying that the injured young man is now out of danger, and they are claiming that there is no link to Nupur Sharma's video here, but the boy and the family continues to maintain that.
हम स्टेटस देख रहे थे अपने दोस्तों के साथ, नुपुर शर्मा का, तो वही बोल रहे थे कैसी है, मतलब ये बोल दी, बयान दी ऐसे ऐसे। वो आके झगड़ा किया हमसे, बोला कि तुम नुपुर शर्मा के सपोर्ट से। पीछे से एक जन था, पीछे से चाकू मारा, बोला क्यों करता है, बोले हम हिंदू हम करेंगे ऐसे। वो बोला कि करेगा पीछे, फिर उसके बाद फैट चला आगे से हम फैट भी चला, हम भी फैट चला। उसके बाद हम फैट चला, पीछे से उसका ही बंदा कोई आके हमें चाकू मारा।
लड़का गया वहाँ वो ठंडा वगैरह पीने के लिए, वहाँ जो है वो सब जो है चटमाचर वो वहाँ खड़ा होकर के वो देख रहा था वीडियो, ये नुपुर शर्मा का। उसने जो है देखा पीछे से, जो है क्या देख रहा है, तो ऐसे देख रहे हैं। तो उसने जब सिगरेट पी रहा था, उसने मुंह पर जो है धुआं मार दिया उसको। आपके बेटे के मुंह पर धुआं? हाँ, हमारे लड़के के मुंह पर, अंकित के मुंह पर धुआं मार दिया। उसके बाद इसने जो है, इसने भी कुछ कहा, उसके बाद वो सब जो है लगा मारने, इतना ही। ये मुसलमान के 4-5 लड़के था। उसके बाद मारपीट होने के बाद चाकू पीछे से वार कर दिया। चाकू मार करके जब ज्यादा ही हो गया तो जो है कुछ जो है मुसलमान आए हैं। जब ये लड़का पकड़ रखा था उसको, फिर भी पकड़ रखा था, मतलब 25-30 मुसलमान आए हैं, उसको जो है छुड़ा कर ले गया। हमारा लड़का चला गया हॉस्पिटल, कुछ लोग हॉस्पिटल ले गए उसको।
कितनी बार चाकू मारा था? 6
चाकू लगा हुआ है।
कहाँ लगा चाकू? पेट
में है, पजरे में है, इसी सब में है।
तो फिर आपको दरभंगा कब लेके आए?
दरभंगा उसी दिन लेके आए थे जी। पहले नानपुर ले गए सरकारी हॉस्पिटल में, उसके बाद वहाँ से वो कहा कि मुजफ्फरपुर ले जाओ। मुजफ्फरपुर में देखा वाली नहीं था, सीरियस में था, इसे मैं प्राइवेट में ले आया।
एफआईआर में अभी 4 लोगों का नाम दिया गया है, जिसकी अब अनुसंधान का विषय है। लेकिन तत्क्षण जो वहाँ पे लोग थे बता रहे थे कि दो लोग थे वहाँ पे, तो उसकी गिरफ्तारी सुनिश्चित हो चुकी है। आपस में 2 दोस्त ही इकट्ठे हुए थे, और वहीं पर हाट बाजार का समय था, उसी समय हो गया ये सब मामला। वो इस तरह की कोई मामला नहीं है कि उसको उस रूप में देखा जा सकता है।
So where is Nupur Sharma right now? Clearly feeling the fear of these threats and attacks, she has approached the top court of the country. The apex court granted some temporary relief to the suspended BJP spokesperson. Nupur had moved the Supreme Court, citing that she has been facing death and rape threats after the Supreme Court came down heavily upon her in the last hearing, remember. Heard by a 2-judge bench comprising of Justice Suryakant and Justice J.B. Pardiwala, Nupur has now been granted interim protection from arrest until 10th of August, and all states and the government and the centre have been notified of the same. The Supreme Court has also recognized the extent of death threats that have been clearly meted out against Nupur Sharma and stated that her life and liberty must be protected. Not just that, Nupur Sharma may also be able to move the Delhi High Court. Earlier this month, Nupur Sharma had also requested the bench to club all the FIRs, at least 9 FIRs from different states filed against her. She had requested to club all of them pending against her across the country. So that's the big news coming in. Remember previously with the rap that had come against her and some strong remarks or observations on Nupur Sharma, now the Supreme Court has clearly acknowledged the extent of serious threats against her, considering there is clearly violence, murders and mob agitations around her. What does this court relief mean for Nupur Sharma? Let me go across to our legal correspondent Nalini Sharma, who's been tracking the latest. Nalini joins me from the newsroom. Nalini, how should we see this temporary relief from the apex court to Nupur Sharma today?
Well, Pooja, there's no doubt about the fact that this will be coming as a huge sigh of relief for Nupur Sharma, because even though she had moved Supreme Court citing three main things in her petition, at least one of those three things, which is protection from arrest, that was Nupur Sharma's main contention, has at least been granted to her at this stage. The FIRs that have been filed against her, 9 of them total in 4 states across the country, have not yet been clubbed together and they've not been transferred to Delhi, but the Supreme Court has said that they are open to considering as to whether or not this should be done, because they have noted that there is a serious concern to Nupur Sharma's life, as was stated in her petition. Another thing that Nupur Sharma was asking for is the remarks that the Supreme Court bench had made the last time around, and that those remarks should be withdrawn. But in respect of that, the Supreme Court's not stated anything. But Nupur Sharma in her plea had stated that after the strong criticism from the Supreme Court, the death threats and the rape threats that she was receiving for her comments have in fact renewed at an increasing pace, and she is getting even more threats now. So on those two aspects, even though the Supreme Court's not said anything, but the fact that she has been given protection from arrest till the 10th of August comes as a huge relief for her, and only on 10th of August now we know
and also,
how this
Nalini,
matter
of
is
course,
going
the
to
court
proceed.
acknowledging that she has every right to seek protection as life and liberty for her, and the court acknowledging the threats against her. Nalini Sharma with all the latest on that. Nalini, thank you very much for now. On 10th of July, the Lulu Mall in Lucknow opened with much fanfare, inaugurated by Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. But since then, there's only been controversy with the namaz video that had gone since viral, and the other side, the Hindu groups wanted to then chant the Hanuman Chalisa now. 4 people have been detained by the Lucknow police. A Mahant also today was stopped from entering into the mall, and that because he wanted to, perhaps he was wearing a saffron robe. There could have been a law and order situation inside the mall premises. Here's a report of what is the latest coming in over the Lulu Mall controversy.
The massive Lulu Mall in Lucknow, inaugurated just a week ago by Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. And barely 24 hours later, the plush mall became the camp of a huge controversy over this video clip. This video sparked a fierce communal showdown, with authorities at the mall reiterating that they never gave permission for namaz to be performed inside the mall premises. The Lucknow police has identified and arrested 4 individuals who offered namaz inside Lulu Mall.
उनके 4 लोगों को सीसीटीवी फुटेज एवं सर्विलांस के आधार पर चिन्हित किया गया। इनको डिटेन करके जुडिशियल कस्टडी हेतु उचित धाराओं में भेजा गया है।
The mall, which was inaugurated with so much pomp and show, has become the biggest talking point for all the wrong reasons. First, the namaz row. Then Hindu groups chanting the Hanuman Chalisa in response. And then a Samajwadi Party MLA claiming his car was attacked in the mall's parking lot.
मेरी गाड़ी खड़ी थी लुलू मॉल के बाहर। कुछ लोग आए, उन्होंने मेरी गाड़ी की डिग्गी खोलने की कोशिश करी। आप भी माशाल्लाह आप एडवांस टेक्नोलॉजी आ गई, गाड़ी की डिग्गी नहीं खुली, तो उन्होंने बियर की बोतल से मेरा शीशा तोड़ दिया।
And now another flashpoint has erupted as a Mahant was stopped for allegedly donning saffron clothing inside.
नहीं भगवा पहना इसलिए दिक्कत क्या? हाथ छोड़ो, दूर हटो क्या? नहीं यहाँ और लोग क्यों जा रहे हैं? पूछो।
Amidst these endless controversies, Chief Minister Yogi has cracked the whip, making it clear that any attempt to create disturbances in the mall will lead to serious consequences.
अनावश्यक बयानबाजी जारी करना और उसके नाम पर फिर सड़कों पे प्रदर्शन करके लोगों के आवागमन को बाधित करना और बार-बार लखनऊ के प्रशासन से कहा गया सबके बावजूद भी अराजकता पैदा करने और सांप्रदायिक विद्वेष की स्थिति पैदा करने का जो कुत्सित प्रयास हो रहा है, यहाँ पे लखनऊ प्रशासन को बहुत गंभीरता से इसको लेना चाहिए। इस प्रकार की किसी भी शरारत को स्वीकार नहीं करना चाहिए।
With Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath now sending out a stern message that such needless controversy over the Lulu Mall will not be allowed. Will this communal showdown finally comes to an end? After all, every resident of Lucknow benefits from such kind of development, from this kind of mall in the city. In Lucknow, Abhishek Mishra for India Today.
An honest cop in Haryana was marked down in Nu for trying to stop illegal mining and specifically taking on the mining mafia. DSP Surinder Singh was run over by a dumper truck driver. Take a look at the shocking visual on your screen. He had got a tip-off and went to conduct a raid at the Taudu Hill with his staff. The DSP was standing near his official vehicle when he asked the driver of the dumper that was carrying illegally mined sand to stop. Rather than take note of what the cop on duty was asking him to do, the driver instead ran over the dumper truck over the cop, crushing him to death. The truck driver is on the run. Haryana government and the state police have ensured and promised strict action, saying that the killers of DSP Surinder Singh will not be spared. What a terrible, shocking tragedy there. A cop on duty, performing his duties honestly, crushed by the mining mafia. What will the government do to ensure he and his family get justice?
The exact sequence of events will work out after we have investigated, after we've apprehended these suspects whom I am hopeful we are very close to, and we'll come out with the full sequence of events. हम काफी effectively investigate कर रहे हैं, हमारी teams field में है, and substantial number of police presence is there, और dumper भी हमारा जल्दी recover हो जाएगा. We'll come out with the full progress of the case very soon. We have registered a case of 302, 307, 333, 186 IPC and 353 IPC, along with 379, 188.
आज जो एक बड़ी दुर्घटना हुई है, जैसा हमारे गृह मंत्री जी ने कहा, हमारे डीएसपी सुरेंद्र सिंह यहीं पास के नूर जिले में ड्यूटी पर थे और एक किसी खान माफिया के किसी व्यक्ति ने और उनके ऊपर गाड़ी चढ़ाई, उनकी मृत्यु हो गई है। बहुत दुखद ये घटना हुई है। हमारी सांत्वना है उनके परिवार के साथ भी, और हम वीर सैनिकों को हमेशा ऐसे मामलों में सबका मनोबल बढ़ाने के लिए भी अपने आप को भी प्रस्तुत करना चाहिए, और उस परिवार की भी जिसकी क्षति हुई है उसके साथ भी खड़े हैं।
बिल्कुल सख्त कार्रवाई करने के मैंने आदेश जारी कर दिए हैं, चाहे जितनी भी पुलिस लगानी पड़े, जितनी भी फोर्स बुलानी पड़े, आसपास के जिलों की बुलानी पड़े, हम पूरी कार्रवाई करेंगे और किसी को भी हम बख्शेंगे नहीं।
इस तरह की जो घटना हुई है, डीएसपी को अपनी जान गंवानी पड़ी और डीएसपी को शहादत देनी पड़ी। डीएसपी ने अपनी टीम के साथ मौके पर गए। ये लोग माफिया नहीं है, चोर हैं। ये लोग क्या है कि यहाँ से भरा रात में दिन में बेखौफ होकर भरते। इनके खिलाफ सैकड़ों एफआईआर रही है और उनके खिलाफ एफआईआर करके इनके खिलाफ हमने डंपर जेसीबी इनके बंद किए हैं। ऐसे खिलाफ कार्रवाई हमने की है और कार्रवाई ऐसे क्या करेंगे। पर आप प्रदेश के मुख्यमंत्री मनोहर लाल जी पर और प्रदेश सरकार पर भरोसा रखिए, हम इनके खिलाफ सख्ती के साथ कार्रवाई करेंगे।
ये जो है एक किस्म से नॉन परफॉर्मिंग गवर्नमेंट जो है, कानून व्यवस्था इतनी चरमरा गई है, हर आम आदमी अपने आप को असुरक्षित महसूस कर रहा है। कोई विधायकों का और उसका सवाल नहीं है। तो आज ना तो पुलिस सुरक्षित है इस प्रदेश में, ना विधायक सुरक्षित है, तो आम आदमी कैसे सुरक्षित रह सकता है। तो मेरा सरकार से यही है कि जो भी कदम सरकार को तुरंत उठाने चाहिए ताकि कानून व्यवस्था कायम हो और लोगों में एक विश्वास कायम हो सके। लोगों का विश्वास उठ चुका है।
तावड़ू में जिस प्रकार से एक डीएसपी हमारे जो नौजवान साथी हैं, उनको माइनिंग माफिया ने कत्ल कर दिया, दर्दनाक हत्या उनकी कर दी। इसके बाद मुख्यमंत्री जी को और गृह मंत्री जी को चुल्लू भर पानी में डूबकर मर जाना चाहिए। क्या आप ये नहीं जानते खट्टर साहब कि माइनिंग माफिया यमुनानगर से लेकर नूह और मेवात तक सर चढ़कर हरियाणा के खजाने को लूट रहा है, हरियाणा के खनिजों को लूट रहा है। खट्टर सरकार आंख बंद करे क्यों बैठी है? इससे साफ है कि यहाँ दाल में काला नहीं, पूरी दाल काली है।
तो हुआ क्या था? हाँ, और डंपर से चढ़ा दिया ऊपर। अच्छा, डंपर से चढ़ा दिया। तो ये सुरेंद्र सर के साथ और लोग भी थे कि अकेले थे?
वो स्टाफ था साथ में।
तो सर ये कितने बजे की घटना है सर?
11:30 बजे।
11:30 बजे। तो ये जानकारी मिली थी क्या ये कि यहाँ पर अवैध खनन हो रहा है?
हाँ, जानकारी मिली
उसके। अच्छा, आप नहीं थे साथ में सर? कौन कौन लोग थे सर डीएसपी साहब के साथ?
स्टाफ था उनका।
उनका स्टाफ और 11:30 बजे जानकारी मिली, तो क्या ये रोकने की कोशिश कर रहे थे तब डंपर ड्राइवर ने चढ़ा दिया?
वो तो एक्चुअली अभी मैं मेरे से मत पूछो।
अच्छा, अरेस्ट हो गया डंपर ड्राइवर?
नहीं, अभी नहीं हुआ,
अभी अरेस्ट नहीं हुआ है। ठीक है, ठीक।
And right on the location is my colleague Shreya Chatterjee, tracking all the latest from the crime scene. Shreya, the onus is on the state government. What is the Haryana government going to ensure that this illegal mining mafia does not operate? And what about the killers of DSP Surinder Singh? What are the authorities telling you? What do you see on site right now?
Well, you know, Pooja, I can just show you first the visuals of the kind of illegal mining that's been rampant in this very place. This is the Unravels that we are talking about, and this is the Panchgaon region of the Tauru district where the incident took place today morning. Now, incidentally, we do know that the driver, Ikkar, he's already been nabbed by the Haryana police. He received a bullet injury in his knee, and he's now in the Nalhar Medical College where he's being treated, post which they will produce him before the court seeking further remand. Now, the question, Pooja, is that this has been rampant, this has been open in front of the government eye for quite some time. We saw that environmentalists have also flagged how the Unravels have been illegally mined despite the Supreme Court banning any mining in this very region, because the fact that today the driver has been arrested, but who's the one behind them? Who's the one he was selling these illegally mined stones to? There are series of questions that the government has to answer.
What exactly happened here over the past few years? What is the timeline that you're picking up about this honest officer of the Haryana police who was only paying heed to a tip-off? Did he have other personnel with him? What happened? What are the witnesses saying? Do tell us about that.
Well, Pooja, you know, he had other officials, he had his gunmen, he had other officials who had accompanied him when he received the tip-off. Now, he was actually going from this very area, and it's then that the dumper tried to run away. The stones that you see, they started falling down, and subsequently, we know that the DSP, he received an injury on the spot where he died. Now, you see the stones lying on the ground, Pooja. Yes. These are the stones that were illegally being mined and taken away. A lot of questions that needs to be answered, as I was earlier mentioning. That not just the driver, but who are the real heads behind the illegal mafia that's been running in this region time to time and again, because we've spoken to numerous of these villagers in this region. They say this is not an open secret. They've seen this for ages, but somewhere down the line, the ones who are the reasons
and let's hope here that this is the last murder that the mining mafia has been known to indulge in the past few years as well. Thank you for getting us this live update, but you also stay safe, Shreya. Thank you so much for getting us this update from Nu, where DSP Surinder Singh was mowed down for stopping the mining mafia. Let's now take you to the Parliament session that has started today, but monsoon session already a stormy one. Day 2, the opposition staged a protest cornering the government at the centre over surging inflation, unemployment and revised GST hike. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi led the protest. He said Prime Minister is running from the debate. And amid the sloganeering and the pandemonium, both houses have been adjourned till Wednesday. Here's a report of what did a parliament look like today over inflation.
ये दादा नियमों की किताब लेकर खड़े हैं और नियमों की किताब आपने पढ़ रखी है.
The hike in GST rates on a host of products, including pre-packaged food. The opposition taking up the issue both outside and inside Parliament.
सदन के अंदर तख्तियां लेकर आना उचित नहीं है.
Staging protests near the Gandhi statue and staging noisy demonstration inside the Parliament. Against price rise, forcing adjournments, holding Gabbar Singh strikes against placards. Rahul Gandhi, who led the protest, said Prime Minister Narendra Modi has run away from the debate.
Particularly tragic because we're looking at a time when the country is reeling under record levels of inflation. That is, prices are rising across the world. Everyone is feeling that their salaries are not adequate to cope with the challenge. And at that time, the government comes up with a GST increase that's dramatic.
इससे महत्वपूर्ण कोई मुद्दा है ही नहीं, क्योंकि अब बच्चों को दूध नहीं मिल पा रहा, इतना महंगा हो गया। पहले ही महंगाई आसमान को छू रही थी, पहले ही लोग फिर गाने लगे थे कि महंगाई डाइन मारे जाते हैं। अब देखिए आप,
ये सरकार समझती नहीं है कि अगर आपको अपना टैक्स रेवेन्यू बढ़ाने हैं तो आप अमीरों पे भी लगा सकते हैं टैक्स, जिसे डायरेक्ट टैक्स कहा जाता है। इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स तो सब पे लगता है, गरीब से गरीब और अमीर से अमीर आदमी पर। क्यों गरीबों की जेब पे डाका डाला जा रहा है, मैं सरकार से पूछना चाहता हूं।
The BJP claimed that the rate hike was approved by the GST Council, which has opposition finance ministers as members, adding that the opposition mantris had backed the move at the GST Council huddle.
अरे भाई, जीएसटी रेट कोई भारतीय जनता पार्टी बढ़ाती है या हमारी सरकार बढ़ाती है? जीएसटी में आपके रिप्रेजेंटेटिव होते हैं, ऑपोजिशन के फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर होते हैं, सारे फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर वहां पर रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं अपने अपने स्टेट्स को, और पूरे चर्चा के बाद उसको डिसीजन लिया जाता है।
विपक्ष को इन चीजों को समझना चाहिए, वो समझने के बजाय अच्छे कामों का भी वो विरोध करने का काम करते हैं, और इसीलिए जो है विपक्ष की बातों को जनता पसंद नहीं करती, और इसीलिए लगातार उनका वोट का परसेंटेज घट रहा है।
Several homemakers fear that the GST on packaged food will play havoc with their budget.
ऑलरेडी कोरोना के बाद लोगों की जॉब्स गई हैं, लोगों को ऑलरेडी दिक्कत हो रही है, 3 साल से हाइक नहीं हुआ है, महंगाई कंटिन्यूटी में बढ़ रही है, उसके ऊपर ये जीएसटी की मार एक आम आदमी के लिए बहुत प्रॉब्लम है।
तो सरकार को जो है कम से कम ये जो रोज़ की जो चीज़ें हैं इनका रेट इन पे जीएसटी नहीं लगानी चाहिए, और दूसरा ये है कि ऐसी चीज़ों पे लगाई जाए जो रिच लोग हैं कम से कम वो अफोर्ड कर सकते हैं, लेकिन जो अंडर प्रिविलेज्ड लोग हैं, जो मिडिल क्लास हैं, वो अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते।
Will the face-off over GST and price rise force another session washout? Bureau Report, India Today.
So which are the essential items that we use in our daily life that you need to now watch out for with an increased price? I have a list of 7 items. Not all of them are essential, but it's pertinent to note that the goods and services tax on curd, paneer, from 0% will now be at about 5%. And curd paneer is usually what we do enjoy, relish and consume in our daily day. Now, milk from 0% has now gone up to 5% as well, and milk of course becomes one of the essential items in our daily needs as well. Let's take a look at other items as well where the GST has increased. Rice and barley from 0% again to 5%, that has been increased for rice and barley items. Jaggery, honey, in place of sugar, many Indian families do use it. 5% goods and services tax will be charged on the MRP of jaggery and honey. Atta as well, and that also thereby then adds on to bread and similar items. 5% on atta also will be on flour, will be added in our daily essentials. Now, hospital rooms. If a hospital room is about 5,000 rupees or more, there will be 5% goods and services tax that will be added on that, making it more in number. Hotel rooms, if you're now planning to stay out for a vacation, 1,000 beyond hotel rooms will have now a 12%. That's a whopping number of a GST that has been added. Aishwarya Paliwal, my colleague, has been tracking all the latest from the parliament as well, where there is a big discussion and debate that is happening. At least the protests are on. Aishwarya, how are the netas really fighting it out at the parliament, and what precisely is the ground sentiment? What are the families who have somewhat been affected in their budget telling you about this?
Well, one of the things which the families say is that they used to look forward to the budget every year. Now, whenever the GST Council meeting takes place every few months, they have these changes, which is badly impacting the monthly household budget. So they believe that the government should come up with decent slabs. This 5%, 12%, 18% and 28% is not working. This is something which the GST Council, Pooja, at the moment is working on. However, the decisions which were taken in the last GST Council, especially with regards to items like food, paneer, curd, something which the Indian families consume almost daily, the 5% tax on that is something which is hurting the common man. And not just the netas,
Okay.
however, the common man are also believing that this is something which should be rolled back. Pooja.
Thank you so much, Ashwara, for tracking all the latest on that. The India Couture Week kick-starting this weekend in the national capital, Delhi, and the fashion world is geared up for it. My colleague Chaiti Narula is tracking all the latest, and here she has with the updates about what's in store this year for you and for all the fashion lovers. Take a look, enjoy.
The Fashion Design Council of India is all set to celebrate 15 years of India Couture Week.
We're really happy to be back with a physical show, as really it is clear that couture can't be just enjoyed on a smartphone. You somehow miss the grandeur, the detailing and the sheer artistry that the segment boasts of. We have, as always, some of the best names to show in this season.
Couture is more of a cultural phenomenon world over. Take, for example, the Paris Haute Couture Week that just wound up and the cultural statements made by Balenciaga, Olivier Rousteing, for Jean-Paul Gaultier, Rahul Mishra and Iris van Herpen. Back home in India, a total of 13 couturiers are all set to showcase at the FDCI India Couture Week that begins on July 22nd. This year marks the 15th edition.
This is the 15th edition. And we've managed to grow by leaps and bounds, and where we started and how we've evolved and got better and better. This year, there are 5 off-site shows that we have upped the ante with and added ultra luxury to the already glamorous vocabulary that we have in this segment.
The fashion world is eagerly waiting for what these Indian designers have in store this year.
Each and every piece is a conversational piece, as it comes from making each thread count, and we celebrate the process of making a couture garment. This year we are heralding the attention to detail, along with the need to say that we are back post-COVID.
Couture is like collectible art. Each garment, bespoke, boasts of the creator's most creative vision and boldest style. And with names like Tarun Tahiliani, Rahul Mishra, J.J. Valaya, and Anamika Khanna, one can expect much more than just couture. The FDCI India Couture Week opens with Tarun Tahiliani, followed by Rahul Mishra and J.J. Valaya. Anamika Khanna will be the one bringing the curtains down. The FDCI India Couture Week will have sartorial craftsmanship on display. In New Delhi with Riya Modi, Chaiti Narula for India Today.
Thank you for watching 6 p.m. Prime. But before I wrap up, it is a warm or rather a hot goodbye this time. It's a heat wave broiling Europe, spilling to Britain and fueled ferocious wildfire in Spain and France. Remember, evacuation of thousands of people is currently being done. Take a look at these visuals coming in. The United Kingdom could actually break their current record of 38.7 degrees Celsius and breach the 40 degree for the first time. Now experts are blaming climate change. They are predicting more frequent extreme weather to come, while some people are taking time out with these fountains and at least taking a dive as well. But the temperature is also forecast to rise above 35 degrees in Netherlands, while neighbouring Belgium is expected to hit 40 degrees Celsius and over. The fear even of roads and railway tracks melting, while wildfire already being reported.